So here I am again on my porch doing another video. This video is, I've been really excited and I've been waiting for this for a long time. So we have the Fenix 5 and we have the Forerunner 935, which is essentially a Fenix 5, but it weighs half the weight of the 5. It is a plastic body, but it's much slimmer, much thinner, sits much flatter on my wrist than the Fenix. The rubber strap is amazing. It's super soft and flexible, whereas this guy, it's kind of stiff and much heavier. And like I said, try to always have this above my knuckle, but it just, you could see it's got kind of like this bezel right here, whereas this one is much flatter. It just sits on the wrist. So here I am. I just literally got this today. All I did was turn it on. I did register it and download the new firmware with it. So I'm gonna enable the run now and see how long they find the GPS. Originally the 5 probably took like 2 minutes to find the GPS. Now it finds it probably within a few seconds. I anticipate the 935 is going to take a while to find the GPS. So going into the run, it's looking for a GPS. Let's do the same thing on the Fenix. Today is incredibly overcast. So that one found it. This one is still looking. It's okay. Heart rate 75, heart rate 78, 77. This one just went up to 78. So close enough. I do have a same screen on both of them. This one's called one screen or something like that, one running screen, which I love. I've been trying to do cadence training, so increase my cadence. So it has the timer, has cadence, has distance. What else does it have? Has the GPS signal, has a battery, has heart rate. So it has all of these amazing things that I could literally see everything at a glance. And I'm actually really glad this exists, because that's one big thing I really liked about the Suunto Spartan HR, which had 7 screens. And I was looking both at the cadence, pace, heart rate. It would tell me a lot about my running dynamics on the fly. So this guy's still looking. Like I said, it is the first time ever. It hasn't cached any GPS locations or anything like that, so it has to find the GPS signals and then save them. One thing that you do notice, they're supposed to be the same screens, but maybe it's because of the way the shiny bezel is on this watch, and then you have the black inside bezel. The screen just for some reason looks smaller on this, but I know they're the same size. One thing that I do love is this internal bezel doesn't have any second ticks. That's one thing I really disliked about the Fenix ones. They always have these like minute or second marks, and it's a digital watch, so I don't use the analog second hand on it, so to me it was always pointless. So anyways, we're almost there. I'm sorry for talking, just giving my opinions here and there, but you could see this is real kind of lifetime, how long it takes for the GPS to kick in. So then I'm gonna kick off my run. Only gonna do my 3.4 mile run today, but I'll check in every mile and give an opinion on how it's going. Unfortunately, both of these watches cannot be synced to my iOS app at once, So this watch has now taken the spot of my primary one. This one I'll try to sync through, I guess, through my computer just to see how everything came out. But I got both of these watches, and I would say my initial feeling is right now, unless there's really something wrong with the 935, this one's going to be going back tomorrow. It really is just a little bit too large for what I was looking. This is almost, I mean, this is almost seamless on the wrist. I don't even know that it's there, whereas this one always hits my knuckle bone. I always feel it. I know it's on the right arm right now, so I'm not used to it, but even when it's on the left, it's always there. I know it's always there, and it's just thick and stiff, especially when at night you're trying to measure your, go to sleep and measure your resting HR. I always know that it's there on the wrist. All right, little guy, I'm gonna cut it short now. It is painfully slow. The first thing it loads, and like I said, look at the sky. All the highlights are blown out if you're a photographer. So anyways, this thing is really struggling. I am gonna get walking a little bit, get away from the house, so I do have a more clear vantage point for this thing to kick in. All right. I'm not from Minnesota, so I always thought those things were loons. But apparently they're not. Someone told me they're mallards. So I don't know. I guess I'm really sad then, because I don't know what a loon looks like. I guess you could see it on the license plate, but I always thought this thing was a loon, but it's not. Anyways, in my infinite excitement for this watch review, I forgot to press start, even though GPS 935 finally did catch up for about a block. So I lost some track time, but anywho, so let's see, 132, it's not picking up cadence right now. 118 for heart rate, 129, 116 for cadence. Same thing on here. So I would say right now, I don't know what the track looks like, but they both beeped at the identical time. As far as I could see, both of them kept the same heart rate, and both of them kept the same cadence. So that's one mile update. I really, like I said, I enjoy this screen a lot for this watch. So if you do have either one of these watches, or if it's compatible on a Fenix 3 and you're big into running or biking, this is an amazing all-in-one screen. Like I said, it was about the only thing that I missed from the Suunto, having 7 screens. So this one actually beats it because it's got a lot more info and it's configurable. Again, watch feel, barely even know that this is here. If I try to wobble it, it doesn't. If I try to wobble this one, even though it's tight, I could definitely push it, feel it pushing around onto my wrist bone, and just in general on my wrist. There's a lot more sensation on the buckles. You can see it squeezing a lot harder, where this is not, and you can see the strap is much flatter, whereas on here the buckle's digging in, the strap keeper is digging in, and yeah, that's it. So 2 mile update to come. Mile 2 check-in, mile 2 check-in, mile 2 check-in. Interestingly, this heart rate spiked and then went back down. One thing I did notice on both of these watches, I don't know if it's a function of the app, I'm gonna run again with normal screens, but the instant pace seems to be all over the place. It's like between mid 8 minutes and high 9 minutes, jumping around. And I first saw it on the 235. I did notice it then on this guy also. Maybe has something to do with the cadence being higher than it typically is. I usually take longer strides, so I've been training to take smaller strides, or at least increase my cadence. But again, this watch may be more stable. It now has about 7 days worth of exercise. This one is literally only mid-exercise. And one thing I really don't like about Garmin, something that Apple really perfected. It would be amazing for as capable as these watches are, that there would be a backup either on your computer or maybe on the phone in the cloud. They don't take that much memory, that when you do add a new watch, especially if these guys are all compatible, that it would flush all of that data from this watch into this one, because this one now tells me my training performance and loads, which is a really neat feature I'll talk about later, something that Fenix 3 never had. But essentially you need about 7 days worth of workout and I'll tell you your aerobic and aerobic capacity. I'll tell you whether you're going through a light exercise. This thing was telling me I'm going through optimum somewhere in around 700 range, and then you can go into the red zone. I guess you're overtraining. So I wish I didn't lose all of that, but whatever. One thing I have to say, this watch has phenomenal battery life. I got it about mid last week. We actually, right before our second baby's birth. And the reason I got it because I really did want an all-in-one activity tracker with a heart rate monitor. Not that they have 24-hour 1-second increment heart rate reviews. It's actually great because if you're waking up with a baby, a newborn, every 3 hours, doesn't matter whether it's daylight or at night, it's really nice to track your sleep, which this thing does, whether you're going through light sleep, whether you're going through deep sleep, and what your resting heart rate looks like. So anyways, doing all of that, out of the week I got about 6 days worth of exercise, at least 3.5 miles, so for about 35 minutes, a 10-minute a mile pace. And the battery today was the first time I threw it on a charger because I wanted to make sure that I do make it through this run, and I didn't need to. The battery was still at 46%, and you can imagine that this is also a new watch, and you want to play around with it. So with the honeymoon with the watch, essentially getting up at night, checking my time, doing on 6 runs, so that's about 3 hours total, over 3 hours of GPS time, still had 46+% left. If this watch, which is supposed to be the same thing as this watch, does keep it at the same battery levels, I'm gonna be happy as a pig in shit. Seriously, it's probably the best thing that happened, this watch. One other thing, since I am walking and talking, that I noticed, I talked about it in one of my videos. It seems like this thing was getting stuck, and I've seen it before, I believe in the Fenix 3. Never saw it in my 225 Garmin. It would get stuck at a low rate. Like instead of reading 160 heart rate, instead of reading 160 or even 170 under heavy load, it would top out at like 152. And I noticed those were, I think those were on the colder days. And I noticed the bottom part right here of this watch, it is metal, whereas this one is plastic. And so is the 225, it's all plastic. And I wonder if the metal cools off during the cold weather and then has the tendency to cool your wrist, which may shrink the capillaries in that area, which would contribute to the error and thus a lower heart rate, whereas in the warmer environment it would read higher. If you don't believe me, take one of these watches and go shower with them in a hot shower, and you're gonna see your heart rate blow up to like 130, and you know it's not. It should be like maybe 80 or 90 or something, but it will blow up. So I think there really is something to that. So I'm looking forward, or at least I'm mentally convincing myself that this may be a silver bullet that I was looking for. All right, here's the heart rate thing. 130, 140. This guy's going into 179, 178. I was running pretty hard there, and this guy's still topped out at 140, 142. I know my heart rate it's higher than that. It is very cold today, again, about 42 degrees and wind. So this guy's now at 160, 159. And then this one finally caught up. So I don't know what it is. I really do think it's that metal case back. Anywho, you saw it here. Make a note of it. Keep it in mind. Okay, so pause the activity. 34 minutes on this one. This one has 34:02. I did turn it on about a few seconds earlier. 3:17 distance on this one. 3:15 on this one. Probably makes sense. I don't know. It's about 20 yards off or so. That I turned this watch on. Still good enough, honestly, for me. So let's save both of the activities, and then quickly, what I want to see actually right now is the altitude change. And I don't want to look at the real altitude, absolute altitude. I just want to look at the delta. The reason is, I read somewhere that this watch calibrates its barometer every time you start an exercise, whereas on this one I actually saw a setting to calibrate, which I don't think I saw it on here. And another thing is the barometer is on the outside like it was in the Fenix 3, whereas in this one it's actually under the watch. It's under this buckle, and it looks like a horseshoe cut out. It looks exactly, if you're familiar with an Ambit 3 Peak, it looks like exactly like their barometer, except theirs is on the outside edge, this one's on the inside edge. So let me pause this for a second, and then we'll look at the altitude. So let's go into details. If you go into details, ascent 18 meters, descent 24 meters, ascent 17 meters, descent 20. So here's an elevation plot. Started at 285, ended at 267. This one is at 240 and 221. So again, I don't know what it is right now. Minneapolis is flat as shit. I'm not trail running unless I go to my South River run, which I do there. But honestly, I'm more interested in the deltas than I'm not going to be at 4,000 meters and needing an oxygen tank or something like that ever around here. If I ever go back to the East Coast, go hiking on the Appalachian Trail, I'll make sure to figure out how to calibrate this thing and do all of the other jazz. So one other thing I wanted to see, I'll show you. So on here, if you could see, this one has back and lap. This just has back. But it is also a lap button. It's okay if you remember it, but it's nice to have that spelled out. You kind of don't need to start stop on this. This has nothing. It just has this like steampunk bezel telling you it's a special button. This is a special button because I guess it's black, but it would be nice to have that lap reminder, because back doesn't really tell you anything, although this button still has, oh, maybe it is the back button, but it kind of looks like a lap squiggly arrow, so you can remember that. And it was funny because I think this guy, when you get it, yeah, it pops up with these helpful hints, and they specifically said to do something blah blah blah, hit the lap button. And I was like, oh, there's a lap button here. What's a lap button on here? They should have said back button. Anywho, so that's about one thing. So I'll look at the tracks later. I'll post both of them after I figure out how to sync both watches. And that's about that. I really am pleased with the 935. I really think it's staying. I'll figure out what the altitude issue is. Again, right now it's, even if there is an issue, I'm not saying there is, but it is the internet. People have a tendency to go crazy on things. I'm not too worried about it. Just the wrist feel alone on the watch is incredible. It's fully worth it. It's $100 cheaper than this thing. which I went ahead and invested towards a running stroller. Okay, bye.